Hi students, you'll need to grab a pen and paper, something to write with, because we're going to practice parenthetical citations. You'll want to pause this video and write a few things just to get down this practice of incorporating your sources in the body of your essays. A lot of you are good about including the sources that you've used in your works cited page. But wherever you use that information, someone else's ideas or words within the essay, at the end of that sentence or at the end of that paragraph, if there are a number of sentences, you need to include information to let the reader know where you found that info. And that's called a parenthetical citation. So let's try this. All right, this is paraphrasing, which means using your own words. Cite the information below using a parenthetical citation. So here's the information we want to put in our own words and then give credit to the author if we know the author's name. The information is expensive fleeceware apps often come with a 3-day free trial period, and most of their subscription costs ranged from $4 to $12 per week, or from $208 to $624 per year. The website where we found this is bgr.com. The article title is These Android and iOS Apps Are Robbing People Blind, and the author is Andy Meek. Well, for MLA, we know if we have the author's name, we need to include their last name in parentheses, along with a page number if it's from a periodical or a book. This is a website article, so we'd only include the author's last name. So, pause the video, rewrite this sentence in your own words, paraphrase it enough to where it's not plagiarism, and cite the source in parentheses at the end of the sentence before the period. Include the author's last name so the reader knows where you found this information. And I come up with this. These apps, many of which come with a 3-day trial period, typically cost anywhere from $4 to $12 weekly, which translates to $208 to $624 per year. Meek in parentheses, period. Again, that meek in parentheses there is vital. You have to include that in the essay so the reader knows where you found the information, and if needed, they can verify it. Okay, next one. Using a direct quote, which means you copy and paste the words verbatim and put quote marks around it, cite the information below using a parenthetical citation. So the quote we want to directly quote, meaning just copy and paste it and use those quote marks, is this: there are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy, and the tired. That's from F. Scott Fitzgerald from his novel The Great Gatsby. And if it's a novel, we know that it's fiction, so that's a character who uttered that phrase. It's on page 129. So pause the video and in your own words, in direct quotes, quote this and cite what you need to cite in parentheses at the end of the sentence before the period. So there are a couple of ways to do this, to directly quote. The first way is what I see most often, and this is incorrect because it's what's called a dropped quote. There's the quote in parentheses, in quotation marks, and then Fitzgerald's name, 129, the page number, behind it. Well, I guess that's technically correct, but it's not a very sophisticated way of relating this information, letting the reader know that Fitzgerald wrote this or that a character said this in his novel. So instead of using dropped quotes where you just quote the source and then put the author in parentheses, try this. Use a signal phrase. So the character said, comma, there are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy, and the tired. Fitzgerald 129. We included Fitzgerald's name in parentheses because it's not mentioned in the sentence. Important thing here is that you're parenthetically citing your source, but do it in a sophisticated way by using a signal phrase. This third way is also correct. Fitzgerald wrote, comma, there are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy, and the tired. 129 in parentheses, that's the page number. We already know Fitzgerald wrote this because we indicated it in a signal phrase in the sentence. And then the period comes after the parentheses. Last one, we're going to paraphrase again. So in your own words and using direct quotes. So you're going to use your own words and direct quotes from this one quote. Cite the information below using a parenthetical citation. So here's our information. The survey by Pew Research Center conducted March 1st through 7th, 2021 among 12,055 U.S. adults who are members of the center's nationally representative American Trends panel finds a wide majority of Americans, 69%, saying it is, quote unquote, very important for federal law enforcement agencies to find and prosecute the people who broke into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Another 18% say doing this is, quote unquote, somewhat important. Just 12% say that this is not too or not at all important. So that's a lot of information we want to paraphrase and directly quote. Now, what you paraphrase and what you directly quote is up to you. But again, we need to include at the end of this paragraph where this information came from using a parenthetical citation. So there's no author listed for this. The website is pewresearch.org, and the article title is Large Majority of the Public Views Prosecution of Capitol Rioters as Very Important. So pause the video, paraphrase this, use some direct quotes, and then at the end of those sentences, you want, not at the end of every sentence, but it's one paragraph. At the end of the paragraph, use a parenthetical citation to indicate the source. And this is what I come up with. So in my own words, according to a March 2021 survey of more than 12,000 adults living in the United States, Pew Research Center found that most Americans, 69%, I want to spell out the word percent, you'll notice, if I'm writing academically, said it is, quote unquote, very important for federal law enforcement agencies to find and prosecute the people who broke into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So that whole phrase there, I copied and pasted from the article and put quote marks around it. And since everything I quote in this paragraph is from the same source, I can save my parenthetical citation for the end of the paragraph instead of putting it after every sentence. Continuing on. Additionally, 18% said that this action is, and here I direct quote again, somewhat important. Only 12% indicated prosecution of these individuals is, and my direct quote, not too or not important at all. I'm sorry, not too or not at all important. And then my parenthetical citation, large majority, I can just put the beginning of the essay, of the article title, just the first couple words, since I won't have to take up all that space using all those words. I can just put large majority, quote unquote, as the article title. Since we don't know who the author is, we can't include their last name. There is no page number because it's a website. So that's all I need for my parenthetical citation. All to say, the important point is that you use what I've got in blue here. These are parenthetical citations that you're not including in your essays, and you have to. Again, you're really good about including these sources on your works cited page, but then as a reader, I don't know where you're using this information in the actual essay. So please use these parenthetical citations. All right, if you have any questions, email me. Thank you.